Hey guys, welcome back to the Geek Box and to another video. We're going to do something a little different today. So based on some of my favourite YouTubers, Nerba and Mitten Squad, rest in peace Paul, I wanted to do a Fallout playthrough. So today we're going to find out, can you complete Fallout New Vegas as Arthur Morgan? So the rules on this run are going to be simple. We're going to be using guns that are akin to the era and the games of Red Dead. We're going to be using armour, clothing, etc. Well, there isn't really any armour, so it's just clothing from the era, but more on that later. And we're going to be trying to make Arthur-like choices. As an extra caveat with this, not so much a rule, but I am going to be trying to avoid technological things as much as I can, apart from some bits you can't avoid, which obviously I'll address later. And the very last thing is a quick thank you to this video sponsor, the Little Supplement Company. If you want some good psalms, etc., you've got the Little Supplement Company, can sort you out with a great price, and using the code TheGeekBox on top, you get another 10% off and support the channel. Anyway, with all that being said, let's get into the challenge. Right then, let's start our adventure. So of course, first easy thing we get is a name choice in the game. So obviously done for us on this one, and well, we tried to create Arthur best we can. Start obviously with a very old creator engine. The options are a bit limited, but you won't be seeing it for the run anyway. So picking our points wise, I wanted to go in with definitely agility points, as that gives us our gun skill, and it's Arthur Morgan. Obviously luck as well, because we can do some gambling, and there's a good bit of luck that falls in Arthur's lap amongst all the mishaps in the game as well. And of course perception, because of Deadeye. Perception's got to be in the game. If clearing out the Doc's house as it's nailed down, then it's part of the plan. So for our skill points, I'm starting off with speech for some of the early checks we need to do. Guns, as we're going to be building up the gun skills quick as we can, obviously with it being Arthur. And the third one was a bit of a toss-up what to do with it in the end. In the end I went with survival, because I was thinking about the fact that I wanted to try and use food, etc. whenever I could, in comparison to stim packs and that for healing. And obviously the survival skill impacts that and what you can make. So this is one thing doing this run that I did find I actually end up using a lot of things that I've not actually really used before. So it made it quite interesting for me actually having fun doing this run. Then going on to build the traits, I chose hot-blooded, as obviously it represents quite well how it is when you start getting injured in the Red Dead games, and skilled, as we're going to use the loophole to double that skill up, which I will explain later. See, just checking, I've definitely got my cowboy walk going. We say thank you for the good old Doc, and then make our way out and get blinded as we hit the Wasteland. So now we've checked through. Obviously I've got items as well that are from the DLCs, there's courier stash, etc. But one item in there is going to be a starter, and that's the sturdy shotgun, as we have those in the game. So we're going to be selling off the rest of the items and meeting up with the locals, and then Sonny's going to provide us with our second weapon. Obviously the varmint rifle that you are given by Sonny is also in the Red Dead games. But before any of that, if we're going to go off and be a true cowboy, we need to have our revolver ready. Now, it may not be a Capman's revolver. The 357 revolver from the game does share in the same family, and as Trudy happens to have one behind the bar, and let's face it, playing as Arthur does not limit you when it comes to stealing, etc. We are able to arm ourselves up. So once we give the razzle to the first bottle and show that we know what we're doing, we can then head out, show Sonny that bottles and geckos can get treated exactly the same. And well, this is a new one for me. I actually didn't save the settler, which I think is like the second time it's ever happened to me, so that was a bit of confusion. But moving on, we reset our traits before we head out, and as I said, when you take the skilled set for a second time, you actually get twice as many, so you get 10 points added onto all your stuff, but you still only lose 10% and not 20 to your thing. So when you take the skilled attribute when you first level up, you balance it all out and still walk away with twice as many points. Then moving on, we take out the geckos in the area, which this is it's good to get XP and build up at the first part with this, and also it gave me an insight that I didn't think about at the start of this game, but how much I might be able to actually sneak to attack as well. But eliminating all the geckos was its own good bit of fun. Not that much loot to pick up, but we do get this reward. Then with that leveling us up, we add some more points into guns to keep building it up. And then we head on back and test out the revolver finally. I'll see, I was quite surprised how accurate this thing actually is early on using it. Then after meeting Trudy and Joe, we then head off and deal with the local bug problem. Once got that and pick the lock in here, then I move on through to meet Ringo, give him the most Arthur Morgan response possible. And then after that we move forward planning to this game. There will actually be a tutorial, by the way, for this that I'm doing in another video, but for now we're going to leave that. Anyway, heading on out, we unlock Gene's skydiving, so we've got another location to travel to, so I will be doing something with the powder gangers. And then we just explore the local area, and it was when I got to here, I remembered dynamite's a thing in Red Dead, so Van Graff tricking ourselves into a few sticks. We're going to make our way down to Prim, and here we can finally get what I was looking for to create the ensembler, take in the Sheriff's Duster. And this is the first piece of what I would call Red Dead type clothing, which looks pretty damn good, I'd say. Now we're set. I also discovered here hip firing is a great pleasure with these revolvers. It's something I've never done before really in New Vegas, so here's the new things. Meeting Jonathan Nash, so we get our information that we need, and proves himself not useless for once by having a cowboy repeater for actual sale, which is fun because I do love that weapon. And speaking of weapons, we're back for this safe later on, as it's going to be used in this run for once. Save the idiot. Realise I don't have enough skill at the moment to put the new sheriff in place, but we'll do that in the future. Buy some mods so our revolver gets stronger, and then I got one of my favourite moments. As I approached these powder gangers, who was waiting there? But my arch enemy. And I got to do a role reversal for what I think is the first ever time I've actually not had him come flying towards me after having to even double check it was the right person. He was just strolling along, so
holy shit!
With the most appropriate reaction as well, I make my way then over to the powder gangers, do some jobs for Eddie, scaring people away and getting some easy XP, and then move back around, as it kind of figured prisoners from the government wouldn't be enemies with Arthur to start off, but leveling up we pour more points into guns, and then
go ahead, try me.
Okay, I'll catch you later then.
Yeah, that was worth the satisfaction. But speaking of Ringo, getting the thumbs up to do the job ahead, and then we're going to get ready to collect all the things that we need. Thanks to Pete, we're able to make an explosive start, and all those points we collected earlier from the skilled. And then we just pick them off afterwards quite easily. So you're supposed to just right at the start of the game, and as I'd already been away for a little bit, it wasn't that difficult to really get the upper hand, shall we say, on these. We go then and pick out some more powder gangers along the path, as now they're a fun bit of sport, as we steadily make our way out towards the outpost to get things really going. So I'll say it's a good bit of XP picking along here as well, which was really good for the run, and picked up some more sneaky XP as we went along. Also coming across ghouls at this part of the desert, which is something I haven't come across before when heading up towards the outpost. Then we meet Jackson and we take care of his bug problem, and then we go out to pick some more bugs to get some XP from it. Swanwick then loses the next lottery, as has to be done. We then go on to meet the dog boy, and then we go and meet the girl who tries the wrong cowboy. Then we squeeze some extra XP from people around the Wasteland as we go through and meet the XP sponges, and make our way to guess where. I'll see, then we meet up with the Night Watch and the Day Watch, as the Night Watch was glitched out and we couldn't have our Boone experience, but we finally got to talk to him and to show Boone some love. Then we show Manny some of the same love by doing his mission, which pretty much can be summed up as this.
Come and get it, stealth boys.
And not for the first time, I then broke the golden rule of the Wasteland and got distracted chasing down some Legion soldiers whilst I was supposed to be collecting the last parts for that mission. But I did get some cool sneak kills in, so the Legion didn't know it was me, so I don't have to worry about being chased down. Obviously then going to Helios 1, it allows me to travel through then to Boulder City, and then I can deal with the Khans, who after watching me get shot in the head, I return the favour. I then went outside to make my stand against the rest of the Khans, and this really did not go to plan. So plan B, run straight at the NCR whilst trying to keep myself alive and letting their boys do the damage. This is the first time I think I really actually felt the whole not wearing any armour through the run, as I just got rinsed by them so many times. But picking off some shots to get some XP and letting the NCR deal with it, I then leveled up to level 10 and was able to pick the most appropriate perk, Cowboy, which helped all my weapons I was using. Then made my way to Camp Golf as I had something I need to steal.
What do you think you're doing?
So grabbing the sexiest revolver in the game in my opinion, and probably the best for damage as well, we got ourselves set. And then I had a new experience again as the comms officer for the NCR was actually inside the tent instead of meeting me randomly in the Wasteland. I then taught the idiots how to use their guns properly. I then met my best friend for the entire run, realised I had nowhere near enough money for the weapon I really wanted as well, and then I went off to meet people in Freeside, helped out some junkies and dealt with some people owing money, and then went around to see what else I could do. Decided not to kill Dixon as a fix, and then I changed my mind, as it did seem appropriate to the run. When I met the Big Cheese and the King, then dealt with Oris in the most unscientific way possible, as it does still get the job done, and if you can't solve a problem with revolvers, what's the point in having them? So after double checking their pulses, then switching over and finally testing out my favourite new toy, which was effective, we then go and speak to the King's friends to find out what happened to all of them, and then we go off to try and find out about the food that's being handed around, and then we go back to the King before having to sort out Pacer's mess. So with all that done and the XP gain, help the King secure the piece, level up my lockpicking skill with level 13, and then go to collect my new piece. So in the Bison Steve, remember I mentioned that safe? Well, it holds a special revolver which I've been looking forward to getting, but it was under a hard lock. After picking the lock, we get hold of Lucky. So Lucky is a variant of the 357. Obviously it's only a little bit stronger than the 357 revolver normally is, but it fires a lot faster and seems to do better criticals as well, I've noticed, even though it's not listed on it. So, with this new and beautiful revolver to our hand, we make our way over to Crimson Caravan and give ourselves an outlaw discount on things by picking a few locks here and there, and then we wait until the daytime and we meet the boss lady herself and head off to do some work for her. So delivering on an invoice, we then go through to Camp McCarran, and of course we get distracted by all the other jobs that are here. So after taking some bounties and find out the ins and outs of what's going on the base, we then deal with the Centurion, make a promise to a grieving widow, as we know from the game that Arthur would, to try and help her out best he can, and then we go and deal with the rat, as we know how Arthur feels about a rat. After taking his face clean off, we then go and deal with the monorail, keeping that safe, and then we go and destroy some fiends, as we now have some bounties to collect, of which I ran into my first one actually completely at random and picked up some pretty sweet XP along the way. But as I said, making our way through, Cook randomly appeared for me, pulling out a flamer, getting it shot out, and then randomly pulling another flamer out of his ass, it seems, which is a new one on me as well. But eventually we did manage to take him down and managed to keep the head intact as well, which is always a bonus obviously for collecting. But this wasn't as much fun as it normally is, thanks to, as you can see, Vats freezing on me would become a companion in this run. But with Cook finally dealt with, and weirdly enough seeing him actually shooting a laser weapon instead, after I disarmed him a second time, we then head off to take out Violet, which after dealing with her dogs was my next reminder of the fact that I wasn't wearing armour yet in the game. So with first swing at Violet, didn't go according to plan, But with a load back in and then a change of tactics, I was able to pick her off from a nice distance, which did make life a little bit easier instead. And after she dropped down, again, just dealing with the dogs wasn't really that much of an issue. Then we moved on to driving a thigh for the big 3 to finish up. And that was my 3 targets claimed, all heads intact, so I could claim my bounty. It was around this moment I decided to make a really stupid choice, it would seem on the overhead of things. And that was to visit this place. I guess I was feeling a bit more lucky after that run, but it went like this.
What the fuck are you...
After that went far better than I actually thought it was going to. Keep in mind a lot of healing supplies were used in it though, to be fair. But I went to the strip, passed a credit trip, met on with my old friend Victor, once again, Cowboy the Cowboy, and then made my way onto the strip. It was at this point I realised I'd been given a bounty to collect earlier on. So, with that done in the old-fashioned way, I also then made a discovery of the Bounty Hunter Duster, which I wanted to pick anyway because I thought it looked good, but I didn't realise it actually had armour as well, so I finally have armour that I can actually wear for the rest of this run, so yay! Anyway, meeting the other big man in the area, we go to Mr. House, give him the chip and take it back, we go meet the Immersers, and then we go around and make ourselves some coin.
Okay, that's that.
This simply will not.
Then let Swank know that Benny is a no good think about doing it early, but then remember I want to gamble still. Meet Yes Man, obviously bring him into the equation. Then we go again.
Well,
Okay, pal, you've had it.
After being banned and finding the man that shot me, what would Arthur Morgan do? But let's not forget, this wasn't the only casino that I got banned from.
what the hell?
And of course, this one's for you, Paul. Then taking all my beautifully won chips from those casinos, I finally buy the medicine stick, which was the total OP version of the repeater, which now takes me on back to Mr. House. So, time to conduct some business with the Lord of the Land. This was actually easier to get in than I thought it was going to be. I honestly thought with my little bit of armour I've got, they were going to pull me apart, but they haven't been upgraded yet. So once we get in, give the old razzle-dazzle hip firing to Mr. House to take him out of the picture, make myself the new Lord of these lands. We then report back to Yes Man and let him know to go and take over. He informs me the Securitrons can now make boom booms instead with their new missile launchers. And then we head back out to the Wasteland. Get weirded out that Camp Searchlight has no radiation for some reason today. Then we go and visit Caesar and see what his deal is so we can make our way down to the vault, upgrade the rest of my army because I have a goddamn plan. And then I make my way through to the New Vegas clinic and get myself some implants that help make me a tough boy. Then to deal with the surrounding groups, we go to see Mother Pearl, take them out of the equation as there are no bombers in the Wild West. After then dealing with Pearl, who proved herself to be a bit tougher this time, we then deal with the rest of the boomers waiting outside, who weren't really a challenge running at me with knives. Then paying a visit to Red Rock Canyon, obviously we deal with the Khans, as tribals and raiding parties don't generally end up having that good an ending anyway in the Red Dead series, so we don't want to break that immersion. And then from there, to visit the Brotherhood, I need to pick up a key to their special bunker, so I could let Yes Man know if I was dealing with them or not. Also, thanks to my time with the White Gloves, I was able to pick up a dress, so we have payment for Veronica. So I would then say that's a fair exchange for the two. Plus, it's always fun to see her reaction to it.
For me? Do you mean it? No, it's too much. Well, okay, but it's too much. Oh, it's perfect.
Now, after finished making a happy lady, then we can move on to actually using our key to get access to the Brotherhood bunker. And luckily, all you literally have to do is have the first interaction with them, and then you can select if you want to deal with them, how you want to play, etc. Because of it being a technological group, etc., for this playthrough, it just seemed like it was best to avoid them, so that's what we did. Then, after placing our key back under the doormat, we make our move off, and we go and get our true companion for the run. Well, this is the only companion I could feel you could have in this run, and of course, that had to be Cass. Now, obviously, my thought behind this was simply, she reminds me of Sadie Adler. Simple as that. The attitude, the way she approaches things, and considering her two things she's got to focus on is her shotgun and whiskey, it fits in perfectly right the way down to the outfit with someone that you could pull from the Red Dead universe, so had to be done. But before we can claim Cass as our brand new friend in the Wasteland, we have to do some more jobs for the Crimson Caravan Company. So we take on the next set of jobs. So we're going to remove an employee, and I'm going to do the gunrunner's job, probably for the first time I've actually done it in a playthrough. So heading over there at night, sneaking in through the front door, make way to the terminal, steal the plans off, and then trying to sneak back out, getting a proper Red Dead moment where of course it has to go wrong. The bonus here, at least, being once I did kill the guards, it did provide a good payout selling their combat armour, as obviously it's no use to me. And after that, I could then get rid of Henry Jameson to complete this mission up. And that let me then carry on back to Cass and whisk her away for adventure. Then I go off and report my success, although she's a bit peeved the fact that the job didn't go so well. But she's not fussed by it at the end, so we carry on. And of course I let her know that her trouble had been dealt with as well with Jameson. So this leads me pretty much as far as I can go with the Crimson Caravan Company, as now I'm going to be moving on to Cass's quest, which obviously conflicts somewhat with it. So now she's free, Cass asked me if we can go and check out her old caravan site to say goodbye to that. And we head on out, have a look around, to find the burnt remains of what was actually left there, which then of course leads in Cass to realise that she's heard this before, and the sorrow goes on. So, at Cass's request, we then head out and find another site that's been hit, to which we do find the same thing again. So, the mystery deepens on here. Obviously, as Cass points out, it's exactly the same setup with the energy weapons, etc. hitting it. So, with this then, Cass asks us to go and investigate another site to then see if we can tie up this mystery. So, upon visiting a third site and finding the same thing again, Cass comes to the conclusion that it's been done by the Vangraffs and the Crimson Caravan. So normally I would get the evidence and deal with it, but then I thought, what would Arthur Morgan and Sadie Adler do in this situation? So we're going on a killing spree. I also want to add in during this sweet double disarm that I managed to do on Jean-Claude Baptiste, because it just highly amused me at the time that I was able to do it. And it reminded me a lot of disarming the gunslingers in Red Dead 2. That being done and out of the way, Cass says her thank you. And we also pick up a new perk off Cass. So that lets us move on forwards. And now we've cleared the place out and it's full of weapons, it's time to absolutely rob the crap out of this place, because what else would we do? So now, with just a few stops left before the last battle, I head off to get the final weapon that I'll be taking to the end of the game, and that would be the mysterious Magnum. As I can't do the mission at the top, so upset the casino, so you have to drop the Lonesome Drifter and remove it from his body. Then of course, before anything else, we give the weapon a quick check. And then we're off to give her first blood, and to give the simplest outcome for the end slide, as if you go to Vault 19 and take out Samuel Cook, you don't have to do anything else, and it counts as disbanding the entire group of powder gangers in this vault. So with that done, we run outside to, of all things, a Death Claw. So taking this as a good test to see where it stands with the Magnum now, and quite frankly I was actually surprised how well this did, considering normally revolvers and that against things like Death Claws don't do jack, but lucky with the incredibly high firing speed as well that the Magnum has, it took him out pretty easy. I then head back to Yes Man and let him know who to ignore and who's already dead, so then we can finally get ready for the last battle. But obviously before that we do need to go off to the power plant and load up all the energy ready to set our Securitron army upon the Wasteland. And with another new discovery for me, because the NCR hates me, I can't do the Kimball mission to protect the president, so automatically it gets treated as Kimball gets killed, which I found quite interesting, that literally without you the NCR is unable to defend President Kimball. So with that I use the chip and load up the El Dorado substation, and then the NCR completely flips on me, so regardless of the fact that I had a kind of balanced status with them, now it's going to turn into a full-on war with them, as they then proceed to try and kill me for this. Unsuccessfully, I might add. I then keep my promise to Miss Morales by dropping her husband's body off to the NCR, make a trip to fix some problems at Camp Valor and Hope, as I'm on soft-hearted devil with the NCR at this point, and as I know it is them I'm going to be charging into on Hoover Dam, I like to at least have kind of half-decent relationship with them. Then I go back and finish fixing up the screw-ups at Camp Golf, as I have a high enough explosive skill now to do so. With that being said, we return to Yes Man and get everything in place. Let's say about too bad with President Kimball, which always makes me laugh. And now we are ready to go to Hoover Dam and get this all wrapped up. So, making our way over to Hoover Dam, we get our first treat where we get to have another run with the Great Khans and take some more of their blood, so bonus points for that. And then start cutting through the Centurions on the dam and making our way forward till we can get to the Legate. Now at some point during this, I figure I must have hit an NCR soldier because they're now shooting me, so now everybody gets to die. So after taking care of them as well, so there seems to be no others in the area after that, I head under, try to negotiate my way into the room, but fail due to my low speech, and as a result of that I get to do my own sort of negotiating. And you can literally see the pause here from me, as I was shocked that one shot took out these armoured soldiers, considering they're wearing full suits of power armour. But nevertheless, another shot later, we're in the room, we install the chip, say hello to Mr. Yes Man, and then we make our way through and flick the power, and then I get the great laugh as I go upside to start fighting and start watching the Centurions get absolutely bombed to crap as my gang emerge and start killing practically everything that isn't me that they see. So taking this on forward, then we get to the last of the guard, we take those out with quite simple ease, and then we get to the gate leading to the Legate and get to see more missiles being deployed, which I can just tell you does not get old during this run. And then we make our way into the actual fortress and the camp, and we start taking out the Praetorian guards. So there's just a few of them dotted around, more appear once you start the actual fighting, but luckily with the medicine stick it's quite easy work to get rid of them, so obviously you want those out of the way ready for the battle. So taking those out, it then leads me to my plan that I've had for this. I am lightly armoured, I need to take out the Legate quickly, so placing all these sticks of dynamite etc on the floor, and we are set that we can lure him down and shoot the dynamite, which this is a plan I've seen before but not done myself, but I thought it's a great way of dealing with it. So going for my first attempt, I put a shot in the Legate's head and then try to take a few more on top, obviously taking advantage of that sneak, and then I make my way down to the dynamite and don't realise how ridiculously fast he's coming down. With a single swing he knocks me back and then knocks me on my ass for the second one, and before long the whole problem of not having any armour rears its head as I get wiped out so easily. So now trying that again, I sneak into a position where I've got more of just a headshot to see what I can do, obviously without messing around this time, take the shot, get the sneak attack in and head back down. Now this time he managed to get the speech to activate from a distance, which again I didn't expect, but picking the battle I headed down to use the sticks of dynamite to my advantage, and he ran back up and then threw an explosive down. So that screwed that plan. So we went back to basics of just having to try and unload our guns as much as we can, and again of course having complete lack of any decent armour, which was stripped in the first few attacks, I am then left on the back foot again. Obviously I did manage to get all the damage in that I needed to for the Legate, which blew his head away, happy as anything with that one, and then I just had to fight off the guards. So during this I fought the guards and then just made my way backwards to activate the end sequence with the NCR, and then New Vegas decided to New Vegas. Yeah, thanks. I only needed about another 20 seconds of gameplay to get this done. So going back to the battle with the Legate, now it's decided not to crash. But I go back in and realise all my explosives are gone. You can see them in the picture there, obviously for the loading, and when I load the game up though, nowhere to be seen. So we're going to have to just go for this the good old fashioned battle way. So we try to get a sneak shot in again, and well, and with what seemed like victory in my grasp, I then discover I don't have the speech skill to talk Oliver down, which means I have to then fight the NCR Rangers at point blank range. Second attempt, I managed to actually get the shot off and heal myself long enough that my protectrons could then actually do their job, as one of the problems with having low armour is just being stun locked into place, which I discovered a few times in this run, and especially more so in this tiny little area. But eventually, as the Securitrons finally did start to do their job, they wiped out the last of the NCR Rangers, finishing the game, which allowed me to then speak to Yes Man and confirm our victory, and answer the question that yes, you can complete Fallout New Vegas as Arthur Morgan. This was a lot of fun to do. I ended up using a lot of weapons and foods and doing things like cooking and stuff like that I've hardly ever touched on this game, and I've completed New Vegas a lot of times. So to realise that there's actually been a lot of stuff I haven't tapped into just because I have some quite rigid play styles I tend to use, it's been fun exploring that. So I'm hoping to do other challenges if you guys enjoyed this video, to then explore those other things. Obviously I'd like some challenges you guys would like to see, and I obviously hope you enjoyed this video as well. Thank you for staying to the end if you got this far to see the entirety of it. Obviously it's my first proper through line I've done like this. Like I did my Doom one before, but I feel like this one was different and much more involved. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments down below, guys. Obviously hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button to join the family and to stay up to date on all the latest content, whether it be game related, my wrestling stuff, my compilations and that are doing really well. And also let me know in any videos what you'd like to see on the channel. Anyway, with that being said, thanks for watching, guys. As always, I love you all for the support and the love you give this channel, and I will see you all out there.